Okay. So thank you, friends, for coming. We're going to start, today is going to be a heart opening practice. We'll do a lot of just freedom in our chest. And I want us to focus on love and how that viscerally feels in our bodies. And we'll end our practice today with a loving kindness meditation. It's a traditional meditation practice, but it's so healing and really informs the rest of our day when we practice it in the morning. So that's what we'll do today. We'll do kind of a heart opening physical practice, and then we'll end with a loving kindness meditation. So I've got a rolled up blanket here. You can find a towel or go grab a blanket off your couch or whatever, okay? And you might have to experiment with the thickness of this. So what we'll do is start on our backs. And the roll of the blanket is gonna go under your shoulder blades. So it's hard because I can't see all of you, but I want you to make sure that it's kind of like along your bra strap line, not lower in your lower back or above your up so your shoulders are lifted. So you'll lay with like your bra strap line on your blanket, and then your shoulders and your head will be on the floor above it, okay? And just figure out a arrangement for your feet that feels good. It may feel good just to have your knees bent. Let your feet go about as wide as your mat space. If you're just doing this on the carpet, that's fine. But just imaginary mat space, and let your knees knock together. Okay. And that's a pretty friendly place to be. It's good support for your lower back. And just let your arms relax, bent up above your blanket. And start to focus on your breathing. If this is too intense, if the roll is just too much for your back to handle, then just come off of it and unroll it a little bit so it's a little less thick. And it's fine if part of you is laying on flat blanket and then just a little part underneath your shoulder blades is rolled. Just find a place that feels supportive, and it might feel a little unusual to what you're used to. But it's just support for opening that upper spine. This is such good passive work for undoing all the sitting that we do and the hunching over in our shoulders. Just reminding your spine and your rib cage that it can open in this way. If you want to change your legs, you could maybe just let them go long. That might change the experience in your back. Just experiment with it. Find something that feels interesting, but something that it's tolerable, like you can breathe with it. You can find some space and some opening there. And just let yourself have some freedom in your breath. And you can even just use the word love as a mantra with your breath. And just having that thought, the thought of that word. And get really curious about what that creates for you. And see if you can infuse it with a meaning instead of letting it lose its potency with every repetition. See if you can deepen that experience. We'll start to find some movement with our arms here. So as you inhale, just on the floor, just stretch your right arm and let it go long. So your bicep will come by your ear, but your hand will just stay on the floor. And just imagine like you're stretching a rubber band tight, and then completely let it go slack and let your arm just rebound to where it started. And then do that with your left arm. Just inhale, stretch it long, bicep by your ear, and then just passive rebound to let it come back to where it started. And just do that side to side. Right arm, and then passive rebound. Left arm, and passive rebound. Your eyes can be open or closed. Knees can be straight or bent. Just keep going back and forth. Feel all of that connective tissue in your shoulders. Feel the space in your ribs. Just kind of gently, fluidly move through all of that. Kind of feel the inside of your shoulders. We'll just go back and forth one more time. And with straightening that left arm and just letting it rebound. Then reach both arms up toward the ceiling and then cross one elbow underneath the other. Just reach for your shoulder blades. Give yourself a big hug. And then open your arms out and then switch the cross of your arms. Give yourself a hug. And we'll just do that a couple more times. Open and hug. And open and hug. Release your arms and just roll off of your blanket. And just move it out of the way. You may use it later, but just kind of move it out of the way and come back down onto your back. You can't tell. I feel like bridge poses are essential daily work. So bend both of your knees, bring your feet to the floor. Wiggle your shoulder blades together and just kind of let your spine settle here without the blanket underneath it. See if you can bring your lower ribs toward the floor. Let the back of your pelvis be on the floor and then find some space underneath your lower back. Just let your spine settle for another breath. Keep your gaze straight up at the ceiling. Push into your feet and inhale to lift your hips. And then exhale, lower. And just move with your breath. Super simple. We'll just do that 2 more times. Inhale and lift your hips. Exhale and lower. 1 more time to lift and lower. Reach your arms up toward the ceiling, interlace your fingers. As you inhale, lift your hips and then let your hands come towards your chest. So elbows wide, palms open just towards your chest. And then lower down and reach your knuckles back up toward the ceiling. And just keep moving there and feel that space between your shoulder blades as you lift and lower. So as you reach your knuckles toward the ceiling, shoulder blades come apart. As you lift your hips and draw your hands toward your chest, shoulder blades draw toward each other. Just 1 more round there and let it feel like a massage in that space between your shoulder blades. And then lower yourself down, reach those knuckles up, and then release your hands by your side. Really firm down into your feet and then lift your hips up off the floor. You can wiggle your shoulder blades toward each other a little more, maybe even grab the outer edges of your mat and really firm your triceps into the floor. And then bring your weight into your right foot and just float your left foot 1 or 2 inches off the floor, just a tiny bit, and then let it come down. We're gonna go side to side. Push into that left foot and float your right foot a tiny bit off the floor and lower. And just go back and forth. Now, the less you lift that foot, the more work your grounded leg will have to do. Such good stability. And you can keep your hands really pushing into the floor, or you could bring them up to your hip points and just check that your hips stay level as you do this little tiny lift and lower of your legs from side to side. Just notice what muscles turn on to keep you lifted and strong. And notice if your bum's trying to come toward the floor, see if in between, as you rest both feet on the floor, you can lift your hips back up. And we'll do one last. Ground into that left foot, lift your right foot, lower it down, come all the way down. Then let the soles of your feet come together and your knees go wide. Pinky edges of your feet really push into the floor. Push into your pinky edges of your feet and lift your hips up here. Let your knees stay wide and then lower down. And just move with a rhythm that makes sense to your body. Just lifting and lowering your hips up off the floor. Lift and lower. And then we'll come up again and pause there. Keep your feet arranged exactly as they are. You can push the soles of your feet toward each other, push the pinky edges of your feet down, and then just draw your knees a little closer to each other and then let them go wide as you keep your hips lifted and your feet, the soles of your feet together. Just knees pulse up a tiny bit and go wide. Knees pulse up a tiny bit and go wide. Just move there. And you might notice like one hip is a little stronger than the other. It's just information. Take one more round of that. And let your knees go wide. Drop your hips to the floor and then just relax here with your feet together, knees wide. Breathe into your belly. And let your breath lengthen. And think about space, even in your pelvic floor. As you inhale, you can feel the diaphragm push down into your belly and then let your pelvic floor find space as well. And then use your hands just to bring your knees back together. We'll just roll over and come to hands and knees. Wrists underneath your shoulders, and I want you to kind of contain your belly. So knit your lower ribs together here. Okay. And then rock your heart forward and then just bend your elbows, maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches, and then come on up and then rock yourself back to neutral. We're just gonna move here, rock forward, lower part way, come up, and then come to neutral. And connect this with your breath. Maybe inhale forward, exhale to lower, inhale up, exhale to neutral. Maybe the opposite of that. Just listen to your body. Let your triceps kind of stay alongside your rib cage so your elbows aren't splaying out. Just little movements here, starting to build some strength in your shoulders and your chest. Keep your belly strong, but not rigid. So you're not sticking your bum up and letting your belly drop. Find a neutral spine and some containment. And those front lower ribs, just think of the muscles there, drawing those together. Now, if you're done, go to child's pose. You can move a few more times. And then if you need a little rest, you can go back into child's pose. Stretch through your arms and your outer armpits and shoulders. I always like a little bit of rocking side to side. And then come back to hands and knees, tuck your toes, and then float your knees up off the floor, just a tiny bit. We're gonna crawl forward and back. I want you to try to keep your knees floated up off the floor. Step forward with your left foot and your right hand, and then right foot and left hand, okay? And then just make your way back to the back. So you're just opposite hand and foot moving. And you're just gonna find these little tiny beast crawls. Just one handprint, one footprint. But you're gonna try to keep your knees floated up off the floor. Just go back and forth. One more time. And then make your way to center. See if you can pause here. Knees floating. Knit those lower ribs together. And then knees to the floor. Walk your hands forward. Keep your hips right over your knees. Don't drop them toward your heels. Reach your arms forward and then drop your heart toward the floor. Maybe your head comes to the floor, but that's not a requirement. Just stretch through your arms. Think of lengthening through both sides of your rib cage. Maybe forehead comes to the floor. Maybe chin comes to the floor. And think of this heart opening space here. Slide forward onto your belly. Elbows underneath your shoulders. Drop your head and just let it hang. Let the back of your neck stretch. You could rock your ear to shoulder, ear to shoulder. And then pause. Come all the way down onto your belly and get a stretch through the front of your chest. So imagine here I'm on the floor and this is the shape of my arm on the floor. So you're gonna have your right arm on the floor, elbow in line with your shoulder, okay? And then bring your right cheek to the floor. You can use your left hand alongside your chest on your left side. Really push your right hand into the floor and then roll onto your right hip. And maybe just a little bit, maybe you stack your left hip on top of your right. Maybe you can drop that left toe, your left toes behind you. But keep your right cheek on the floor. And anywhere around here, just let yourself feel this in the front of that right shoulder. And breathe. And then unwind yourself. We'll do that same thing on the other side. So find that 90-degree angle of your elbow, your left elbow. Right hand by your ear. Then you can just rock onto your left side. Maybe just a little bit. Maybe hip stack, maybe. Bring those right toes behind you. And you can spread those left fingers and push them into the floor as you let your left shoulder kind of drop toward the floor. And then release. Just roll all the way back over onto your belly. Bring your forehead to the floor, arms along your sides. Push into your pubic bone. Loop your shoulders up off the floor and inhale. Lift your head and chest, lift both legs and reach your fingers back towards your feet. Feel like you're squeezing something between your inner thighs and push that up toward the ceiling. Lengthen through the back of your neck. And then release down. Reach your arms forward. And we'll just alternate here. So as you inhale, lift your right leg and your left arm, head and chest. Lower down. And then the other side. And just go back and forth. Inhale. And really think of lengthening through your lower back. So pull your fingertips and your toes away from each other as you lift. And finding that strength through the whole length of your spine and engaging your whole back body. Just go one more time each side. And then push into your pubic bone. Lift both arms, lift your head and chest, lift both legs. Be a superhero. So your heart can open even more. And then lower down. Bring your hands alongside your chest. Push yourself up through a table. Breathe there, take a breath, and then tuck your toes. You might push back into child's pose or lift your hips up and back for our first downward facing dog. You can shake your head no, nod your head yes. Bend one knee and then the other. And then bring your knees to the floor and come up to a standing kneel. Just in a stand. And bring your hands behind you and let all of your fingertips touch as best you can. If they don't want to touch, just do it in your imagination. So you could imagine you're holding a ball behind your back. Okay. So maybe fingertips touch. Loop your shoulders up towards your ears and then back. And then you can let this little ball rest on your sacrum. Draw your elbows back. And then zip up through your lower belly. And then just push that ball away from your sacrum, that triangular bone at the back of your pelvis. And then you can release that effort. Just do that a few more times. Just move with your breath. Push the ball away. And then let it rest on the back of your pelvis. Push the ball away. And let it rest. One more time, push the ball away. Let it rest. And then you can sit on your heels and fold into a child's pose. But let your hands be just alongside your knees. And just breathe into your belly. We'll find some movement here. So let your hands be by your knees. Let your forehead come to the floor. And as you inhale, just rock onto your shins and the crown of your head and lift your hips. And then as you exhale, just lower your hips back toward your heels. Just give yourself a little scalp massage. 80% of your weight is in your legs and your hands. There's a little bit in your head as you just rock forward and back here. Do one more round there. Drop your hips, come up to a standing kneel, and then you can walk your hands behind you. Now, find an arrangement of your hands that feels comfortable for your wrists. So maybe fists, maybe fingers back, maybe fingers out to the sides, maybe fingers facing your hips. Draw your shoulder blades together, and then just lift your hips up off your heels and lower down. And just enjoy this big opening through your chest and your shoulders. And just pulse there a few times. And then we'll add those two movements together. Lower your hips down and then let yourself fold into your child's pose. Just like a little rock here, forehead to the floor, hands by your knees. Inhale, rock onto the crown of your head, lift your hips. And then let yourself lower your hips toward your heels and come up to seated. Place your hands behind you, draw your shoulder blades together, and inhale to lift your hips. Exhale, lower and fold into your child's pose. Inhale, lift your hips, rock to the crown of your head. And just keep moving with your breath there. Just opening through your heart and your shoulders. Whole front body engages. And if this rocking onto the crown of your head pose feels easy for you, you could interlace fingers behind your back and stretch your shoulders there. And just go at your own pace. Whenever you're ready to be done, you can just end in seated or just hold your child's pose. We'll just stay here for a couple more breaths. you want to linger somewhere, let yourself linger. Find a rest in child's pose. We'll make our way to downward facing dog as you're ready. And once you're in that upside down V of your downward facing dog, find some softness in your knees and then push into your hands to lengthen through your spine. Okay. And with bent knees, you can kind of let your heels drop toward the floor. They do not have to touch the floor. Feel a little bit of a stretch through your Achilles tendons. And then push your inner thighs back. So really think of this happening from the inner thighs. Push them back to bring your knees back towards straight. And then inhale onto your tippy toes, look at the top of your mat, and just take a walk up to the top of your mat. Find parallel feet here. So imagine you've got a line that goes from the base of your second toe to the center of your heel, and those lines are parallel. Inhale, bring your hands to your shins. Find that heart opening here. So draw your shoulders away from your ears and open through your heart as you look forward. And feel all the muscles in your back body engaged. So feel your legs engaged, feel your hamstrings and your calves. Feel the whole length of your spine engaged. And then exhale, draw your belly towards your spine and let yourself fold. If the floor is too far away, you can use a folding chair. You could grab a stool from your kitchen or bathroom. And then we'll inhale all the way to standing. Reach high. And just exhale, hands to your heart. And then pause with your hands along your sides. Open your palms and turn your palms forward. Just feel your heart open. And see if you can return to that mantra of love, just the simplicity. And see if instead of losing its potency with repetition, it deepens. Inhale, reach your arms up, look up. Exhale, let yourself fold forward over your legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, step one foot back and then the other to plank. You can pause here or bring your knees to the floor. Like we did earlier, rock your heart forward and then lower all the way to the floor here. Inhale, lift your heart into a cobra. So hands on the floor, reach your heart forward. Tuck your toes, lift your hips back and up for downward facing dog. Deep breath in and out. Inhale, high into your tippy toes, look forward. Exhale, bend your knees, make your way to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Find that engagement through your whole back body. And then exhale, fold. Inhale all the way to standing, reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart. One more just like that. If you want to go faster and do two more, you can. Inhale and reach high. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees enough that you can step your hands down and step your legs back to a plank. Take a breath in there. Rock forward, lower to your belly. Inhale, reach your heart forward. Maybe come up into an upward facing dog. So push into the tops of your feet. Exhale, move from your belly. Make your way to your downward facing dog. Or you can always have your knees on the floor. You could do child's pose. We'll do one more round of that, and I'm going to show you how to do it with the chair. So make your way back up to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale all the way to standing, reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale and reach high. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Step yourself back into a plank. So make sure your chair doesn't slip. And then lower, inhale there, and then lower down. Take a breath in and find a little back bend. And then exhale, downward facing dog. And you can use the seat of a chair. Inhale onto your tippy toes, look forward. Exhale, soften your knees, make your way to the top of your mat. Inhale, find that long, straight spine. Exhale to fold. Inhale all the way to standing, reach high. And exhale, hands to your heart. And change that up a little bit and add some lunges. Inhale and reach high. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, left foot back into a lunge. And exhale, lay your left knee down. Inhale, reach your arms high. And then exhale, bring your hands to the floor. And bring that right leg towards straight. Inhale, bend into your knee and reach high. We're going to move here a few times, and then we'll add on to this movement. Hands to the floor, straight and through that right leg, any amount. And you can walk your hands back. You just kind of listen to what's available to your body. Bend into your knee, reach your arms high. And then interlace your fingers and just press them onto that right thigh. Tuck your left toes and then maybe lift that left knee up off the floor. Knee to the floor, reach your arms high. Exhale and fold. Straighten that right leg any amount. Go through that again and maybe add on some more. Bend into that knee, reach your arms high. You can interlace fingers on that thigh, lift your back knee. And if you want to play with the balance, you can lean forward and float your left leg up. We'll make our way back down into our lunge. Inhale. And exhale, hands down, straighten through that leg any amount. We're just gonna flow through this combination of lunging and lifting. And you can just do it in any way that you want. Let it connect with your breath. You can pause or you can keep moving. Find somewhere to just let your gaze hold and be soft. Really bring your awareness inside. And we'll just move through that straight leg, bent knee, lift that back knee, reach. Do this in any way that feels good. We'll do one more kind of round at my pace, and you just do what works for you. Maybe you try it without hands. And lifting. Fold over that leg. Come into your lunge, put your hands down, and just step back into your downward facing dog. Pedal it out, or find your child's pose. Inhale, look forward. Take a walk to the top of your mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way to standing. Exhale, hands to your heart, and just kind of check in with your internal experience. Feel the difference from one side to the other. And then exhale, hands by your sides. Inhale, reach high. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And inhale that right foot back into a lunge. Bring that right knee down and then reach high. And find some engagement into your core. So kind of feel like you're driving both knees toward each other. Exhale, hands to the floor. And then find straight left leg, any amount. So it may not go all the way straight. Really think about pushing your sitting bones back, stretching through the back of your leg. Maybe your hands just come here. You could always have your chair handy too. Bend into your knee and then reach high, and bring your hands onto that left thigh and lift that right knee. And then lower that right knee down and reach high. Hands to the floor and lengthen through that left leg. Bend into your left knee. Reach your arms high. Interlace fingers, push them into that left thigh. Lift that right knee. You can stay here, or you could play with your balance. Float that right leg up. And come down. Find your lunge. Hands to the floor. Find your straight left leg. And move through this combination at your own pace in just a really fluid way. And just feel that internal strength. Those muscles closest to your bones. As you move through your range of motion, you can always pad your knee if you need your folded blanket underneath your knee. Always use a chair or other props, stools, benches. Just go through it one more time. Maybe your last time you try it hands-free. And then bring your hands to the floor. Just step back into your downward facing dog. You can stay there, or you could come down into child's pose. Just find a place to collect your breath. See if you can be aware of your side ribs, of your back ribs. And we'll make our way up to the top of our mat. If you're on your hands and feet, lift up onto your tippy toes. Exhale, bend your knees, make your way forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, all the way to standing, reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart. Let's take a big step back with our left foot. Set up for warrior one. So my right toes are pointing straight forward. And if I were on a clock, my left toes are pointing to like 10:30 or 11 o'clock. My feet are not on a tightrope. They're hip distance apart. Push into your left heel, bend into your right knee. Zip up on your lower belly and reach your arms high. And just breathe here. And then bring your hands together, just bend your elbows, bring your thumbs to the base of your skull and maybe lift your chin. Push into that back heel, bend into your right knee, lift up through your lower belly, open through your heart. And then lengthen your arms. And exhale to interlace your hands behind your back. Or maybe hold on to fingertips or hands on your hips. Draw your elbows together. Open your heart. And then exhale, you can fold and rest on your right thigh. Or you can drop your right shoulder down inside of your right knee. And then contain your right hip toward the midline of your mat. Let your head hang. Let there be space for your neck. Breathe. And then feel like someone's pulling on your knuckles if you've got your hands clasped to pull you back up. Reach your arms high. And we'll just step forward, hands to heart. Inhale and reach high. Exhale, fold forward. It may be just this far. Maybe hands to chair. Maybe all the way. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale all the way up to standing, reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart. Big step back with your right foot. Setting up for warrior one on the other side. So you'll engage through this right glute, but then lift and lengthen. Sometimes I even like to use my hand just to remind myself, like, engage this through my lower belly. Bend into your left knee. Push into your right heel. Reach high. Look up. Bring your hands together and then bend your elbows. Bring your thumbs to the base of your skull, the back of your neck. And find some engagement through your lower ribs, your lower front ribs. Then you can lean your head into your forearms. Bend into that left knee, push back into your right heel. Lift through your lower belly. And then from here, straighten your arms. Exhale, interlace your hands behind your back and see if you can do it with the awkward thumb on top this time. Or hands on hips, draw elbows together. Open your heart and then exhale, fold. You can rest on that left thigh or you can bring your left shoulder down inside your left knee. And your left hip will probably want to swing out to the left. See if you can contain it toward the midline of your mat. Draw your shoulder blades down your back and let yourself have a lot of space for your neck. Feel your foundation in your feet. Notice the work that you're doing and let your breath have freedom. And then someone pulls on your knuckles to bring you all the way up. Reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart, step forward. Inhale and reach high. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. We'll set ourselves up for a low lunge again. Left leg back, left knee down, and just come on up, and we're gonna back out of this a little bit. And keep those back toes tucked if you can. So we've got 90-degree angles in both of my knees. And if it's painful for you to be on that knee, you can always bring a towel or a blanket underneath your knee. Bring your left hand to kind of your left lower back and just reach your right arm up. And then just let yourself open your heart here. So even as we bend through our spine, right, the most mobile part is your lumbar spine. See if you can engage through your belly to support that. And then we'll switch sides. So right hand to your right hip, left arm up. Draw that right elbow kind of toward midline and reach up and back. So really feel long through that whole left side. And then come up. We're gonna go through those two movements and you just go to a place that feels good. So maybe your spine stays pretty upright. Left hand to left, lower back. Just reach your arm up. Or maybe left hand to the left heel. Or maybe just left hand to left thigh. Okay. And reach up. And use that arm to lead you up. And then we'll do the other side. So right hand to right hip. You're gonna stay here. Maybe engage through your lower belly. Maybe you just reach and float that right arm back. Or maybe right hand comes to that left heel. And then swim yourself up. And find your way through that a few more times. Left arm back. And let yourself come up. Right, and your hand can be on your lower back. Just do one more time back and forth. And then plant your hands down. Step back into downward facing dog. We'll just make our way to our lunge on the other side. So maybe the easiest way to do that is just to bring your knees to the floor and step your left leg forward. Or you can just step your left leg forward and then bring your right knee to the floor and come up. See if you can keep those right toes tucked. If not, that's fine. It just makes it a little bit higher to reach. Bring your right hand, actually left hand to your left hip. Start with that side. Zip up your lower belly and just reach up. And you can kind of push into the back of your sacrum here. Maybe find a back bend. And then come on up. And switch sides. So right hand to that right hip. Lift up through your left arm. And then we'll try maybe reaching up, leaning back, or maybe hand comes to your thigh. And you can try it again. So maybe right hand comes to your right heel. And you lift up. Use your hand to bring you up. Maybe left hand to right heel. And let yourself support yourself with your legs. So you're drawing that right knee and that left heel toward each other, lifting up through your belly. Just keep moving with your own breath to your own depth. And then make your way to downward facing dog. And turn your toes in and your heels out. It's kind of awkward, but then just push into your hands and kind of push back through your bum. Just clear through your lower back. And bring both knees to the floor. So those were half camel poses. And we'll do a full camel. And you have options here. Okay, so you can bring your hands to your lower back. And actually, I want to encourage you, if you've got your blanket or maybe a pillow from your couch, I'm going to start finding something that just squeeze it between your thighs. Okay. I usually use the yoga blocks for this, but not everyone has yoga blocks. So grab your blanket, a pillow from your couch, something. So we're on our knees, toes tucked or untucked, whatever feels best. Squeeze this object between your thighs and then push it back. And then bring your hands to your lower back. Draw your elbows toward each other. And then just lift. I want you to feel like you're lifting like from your armpits. as you lift up. Keep squeezing into your blanket or block and reach your heart up. And then come all the way up. Okay, so that's bus stop number 1. And this squeezing something between your thighs is really helpful information for your core engagement as you lift. So as you engage through your core, you can support your spine in your back bend. So we'll start hands down at your sacrum. Draw your elbows together, lift through your lower belly and reach your heart up. You could just stay and breathe here. Maybe you've got your chair and you could bring your chair and just bring your hands to your chair and stay there. And you can play with the arrangement of your hands, the stretch in your wrists and your shoulders. Take a break. The last option is to bring your hands to your heels. So you zip up your lower belly, lift, feel like you're lifting through your outer armpits, your sternum toward the ceiling. Maybe hands come to your heels. And really draw your shoulder blades together. Stack your hips over your knees. Breathe into your heart. And your head will come up very last. Just bring one hand to your heart, other hand to your heart. If you've got your blanket still between your thighs, just take it out, untuck your toes, and just breathe here. Let yourself just sit on your heels, let your palms face up. And just feel the energy that peeling your heart space open creates. It can be pretty exhilarating. Right, we want to have protective armor there. But when we can crack that open, we just have expanded capacity for joy. Go ahead and make your way to your hands and knees, and we'll just find a really simple twist to relieve our spines from that. So hands and knees, and then just thread your right arm underneath your left armpit. Bring the right side of your head to the floor. You could reach your left arm long, or you could experiment with reaching it up toward the ceiling, turning your palm away from you, bending your elbow, bring the back of that left hand to your right outer hip. And breathe. And then we'll just switch sides. Use your left arm strength in front of your face to push yourself up, and then just switch sides. So you'll thread your left arm underneath your right armpit, left shoulder, left side of your face to the floor. Breathe into your belly. Reach your right fingertips long. You can experiment with reaching right arm toward the ceiling, turning your palm away from you, back of your hand to your left outer hip. But don't bring a lot of tension into your neck. If this feels like too much work for your neck, then just place your hand down. And if you got your arm bound, just bring your hand in front of your face. Come up to hands and knees, and then you can find a child's pose, hips to heels. Maybe let your knees go as wide as your mat. You're gonna fold, find a place to rest your forehead. So that might be just elbow to floor, forehead to a palm, stacked fists. Maybe stacked hands or the floor. And just completely let go and find an arrangement of your arms that feels good. Just take 2 more breaths here. Just fold it in on the privacy of yourself. Breathing space into any place that there's intense sensation. And then walk your hands towards your knees. We're going to end in a comfortable seat for our final meditation. So that may be on a chair with your feet parallel flat on the floor so your spine can be tall. I would just encourage kind of to sit on the edge of your chair. That may be a good place for you to sit for meditation. It may be cross-legged. I always sit on something, just helps my spine be a little taller. So maybe folded blanket. Something firm is better than something super squishy. And then find an arrangement of your legs that feels like it won't be a distraction when you're sitting, right? We want to feel some freedom and comfort. And so make yourself as supported as you need to be. So you can have feet underneath your calves. I like to have one heel in front of the other, but sit high enough that your knees are the same height as your hips or lower. So if this is what's happening, see if you can sit up a little bit higher. Maybe find more pillows or something to put underneath your knees. Kneeling is always an option also. And when I kneel, I always like to sit on something too. And sit on something. So set yourself up so that you can sit comfortably. Let your spine get tall. Close your eyes. Just bring your awareness to your breathing. And bring your awareness to that heart, space, energy. A place where we really cracked things open. Let yourself feel a sense of light there. The thing I love about the loving kindness meditation is that it follows the pattern of Enos in the Book of Mormon. So it's something that's very, very familiar. So bring to mind someone that you know loves you. Someone who you have a really uncomplicated relationship with. But you know this person loves you unconditionally. It could be a grandparent or a parent or a sibling, a friend. It could be the divine. It could be a pet. Just bring that being into your awareness. And let them express love to you. Just feel what it's like to be in their presence. And for them to express and show their boundless, unconditional love for you. And let yourself feel that. And some of us may have pictures in our minds and really visualize with pictures, but your imagination will create an experience for you whether you see it in pictures or not. So you can't do this wrong. Wish this person well. May you be at peace. May you be free from suffering. Offer them gratitude. Maybe feel their embrace or a sweet kiss on your forehead. hold on to the feeling of their love. Let the image or sense of that person leave. Just let yourself sit in that feeling of love. And then just bring one hand on your heart. Just place it over your heart and place the other over it. And as you hold on to that feeling of love, just let yourself direct it toward yourself. Wish yourself well. May I be at peace. May I accept the grace that's offered me. May I be filled with light. May I be willing to experience all that's presented to me. Really flood yourself with tenderness and kindness towards yourself. Just hold yourself with that tenderness and love. If you like the feeling of your hands on your heart, you can leave them there. You can return hands to your lap if that feels more natural to you. Just breathe one more round of well wishes to yourself. May I be at peace. May I be free from suffering. May I see myself through the eyes of divine love. And then bring to mind those that you love most, those you live with day in and day out, those you think about most often. And just expand the energy in your heart space to hold them. And wish them well. Maybe you will be at peace. May you be free from suffering. May you be happy and free. May you see yourself through the eyes of divine love. Any things that come to mind, just wrap them in that sense of love. And then bring to mind someone that you might see frequently, but you don't know, someone that's a stranger. Maybe the woman who's always walking on a walk through your neighborhood, or the person that you most often see as the checkout teller at the grocery store. Someone you see frequently but don't know. Hold them in that loving awareness and wish them well. May you be at peace. May you be free from suffering. May you be happy and free. May you see yourself through the eyes of divine love. Widen that awareness to your neighborhood and your wider community. Just bring your awareness to the houses and the cars and the businesses and all the people that inhabit those. Hold them in that loving awareness and wish them well. May you be at peace. May you be free from suffering. May you be happy. May you see yourselves through the eyes of divine love. And then bring to your awareness an enemy, someone that you may generally have really harsh feelings towards. And look at them with new eyes. It may be someone that you know, it may be someone that you don't know, maybe a group of people. And bring that enemy to your awareness and wish them well. May you be at peace. May you be free from suffering. May you be happy. May you see yourself through the eyes of divine love. And start to expand your sense of loving awareness wider and wider. Let it encompass the continent, the whole hemisphere, the other side of the world. Let yourself hold in your awareness every being on this earth with that tender, open, yearning sense of love. And wish them well. May all beings be at peace. May all be free from suffering. May all be happy and free. May every inhabitant of this earth see themselves through the eyes of divine love. Just keep holding that sense of love for every being on this earth. If words are helpful for you, you can continue those well wishes in any form that feels natural. Or you can let go of the words and just let yourself feel. Just feel that loving energy, how far it expands in front of you. Feel how far it expands behind you. Feel how far it expands to either side. Notice if you're gripping in your body anywhere. See if you can relax. And just Find space in that loving awareness. And gently bring your awareness back to your breath. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. And just end with a bow to yourself. Just let your head gently bow. And offer some gratitude to your body. And to your creator. To yourself for this time that you've given yourself to practice. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Namaste, friends. Go out and love the world today. I'll crawl up and end the recording.